Fighters presents USA's Tuesday Night Fights. Scheduled for 10 rounds, former heavyweight champion of the world, Larry Holmes, versus Ed Donaldson. At the age of 45, Larry Holmes came 1 point away on 2 judges' cards of beating WBC champ Oliver McCall and regaining the heavyweight championship. But now, after 2 unsuccessful comeback world title bids to McCall and Evander Holyfield, and 2 months away from his 46th birthday, Holmes says he's just in it for the fun. He defines what fun means for a grandfather of 2 still in the ring.
The fun is still amazes me. You really don't learn how to fight until it's time to get out of it, probably. And the fun is when you can see a punch coming and you can make it miss at 45 years old. The fun is when you can beat a guy who's 10, 15 years younger than you. This Ed Donaldson, he's about 10 years younger than me. He's an officer on the police force down there. This guy should be stronger than me. He looks good down there. But do he have the wits upstairs to beat an old crafty old man like me? Old man like me. There's no comparison. I can't compare myself with what I used to be able to do and the speed I had and boxing finesse. I never got hit. I moved, circled, danced on the toes all the time. Never got hit. Today, I'm flat-footed. I take a shot here, I take a shot there, and I land heavier punches. Before, the punches that I hurt you with was come from accumulation of punches. Today, it's come from one big hard punches after I took 2 or 3, and that's the difference. First thing these guys don't know is conditioning and taking care of themselves, and that's the main thing. You have to be able to take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself. And the second thing, the first thing in boxing you learn is jab, and they forget about the jab. And the jab throws everybody off with a left jab. And if they have the conditioning and a good left jab, that left hand can take them all the way to the heavyweight championship of the world or whatever championship of the world. Most guys today, they don't use the jab. They go out and bang, 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 and you know, and think it's going to be all over after that, and it's not. I would definitely give a message to these contenders if I can get an opportunity to fight with one. They won't fight me. I have to fight the guys like Ed Donaldson and whatnot, and so it makes the fight hard because he wants to bump off a guy by the name of Larry Holmes, so he's up for this. But I'd rather fight the Lennox Lewis's and guys out there like that. But just 2 weeks ago, Lennox Lewis came to my grand opening in my new restaurant. I said, man, why didn't you give me a fight? Why you got to fight Tommy Morrison? No, Larry, you got the jab. You got a jab. Why did Tommy Morrison want to fight a young man like Lennox Lewis when he got an old man like me? It's because the jab. They're so intimidated with the jab. And I promise them I won't use that too much no more. I won't use it too much. I go right hand crazy. But they won't give me an opportunity. If this guy here whoops my butt tomorrow night, it'll be time for me to say it's time to quit. But if he don't whoop my butt, if he don't give me a great fight, it ain't time to quit. If I go out here in 3, 4 rounds, 5 rounds, take this guy out, set me another one up for October. Do the same thing in October, set me one up for November, and then one for Christmas, take off Christmas, and New Year's, fight the end of New Year's. And then I think I'll pack it up and hang out with you and Sean O'Grady.
Oh, are we lucky?
Come on now.
Now, what New Year's was he talking about?
His New Year.
Larry Holmes certainly understands that the full package isn't there anymore, but he loves everything about still being in the fight game, and has also found out, even with his diminished skills, that he's still competitive with today's fighters, even with an Oliver McCall who was the champion of the world.
Well, you know, Larry Holmes learned how to box by the old-time veteran trainers, the trainers who understood and knew about the styles of boxing. That's how he's able to beat the young fighters of today. They don't understand about the styles, about the importance of the jab, and about how to beat every other boxer out there. There's a way to beat everyone. Larry Holmes knows that.
And Larry Holmes knows right now his time has come to enter the ring, and this is one of the moments that he also enjoys. Larry Holmes, in his 20-fight reign, successful defenses, 7 years he reigned as a champion, always seemed to have to prove himself, and it is only now, at the age of 45, in his 40s, that he gets the adulation from the crowd as an elder statesman and one of the great champions. And this is a moment that Holmes certainly enjoys.
This is a moment that every fighter enjoys. That walk in the dressing room, when you see that crowd and they see you, the walk from there to the ring, you're walking about 3 feet off. It's terrific. And they still love him. Larry Holmes, unlike many of the top heavyweights even today, understands the importance of activity.
Well, he says he wants to still fight every month. He says he now is in it for fun. Doesn't feel he's going to get another title fight. As he has said on many occasions, the champion's tied up by Don King. He and Don not seeing eye to eye at the moment. So he figures, well, now that I've given up all hope, that I feel much better. But don't believe it. Larry Holmes continues to fight, hoping to get a shot. When he looks at the champions, Bruce Seldon, either Axel Schultz or Francois Botha, Frank Bruno, Larry Holmes in his mind feels that he can beat any of the world champions right now.
Well, for so long he begged for a title fight. He got a couple, but he says this time I'm not going to beg for a title fight, and I'll bet you they call.
But right now he has to beat Eddie Donaldson, a former Marine. He's a Alabama policeman. We have seen him before, and Eddie Donaldson has to be in awe of the situation he is. He started fighting very late at the age of 33. He's 36. He says he's a big fan of Larry Holmes. That could be dangerous in a matchup tonight for a young man who has not had many professional fights and now steps in against one of his heroes.
Really what I think is a dangerous fight for Larry Holmes. To be great in boxing is like to be great in dancing. You have to have a great dance partner. And Larry may look sloppy tonight because he's in with a fighter in Donaldson who does not know how to fight. He doesn't know how to take a punch, and he doesn't know how to get out of a fight.
All right, let's check out.
Drag Larry down.
Let's check out these two fighters, and the Castrol tell of the tape. Interesting that Larry Holmes says today's fighters don't keep themselves in good condition. This is the heaviest that Holmes has ever weighed for a fight, 246 pounds. And Eddie Donaldson at a svelte 233 and a half. We are in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, and these are the rules. Standing 8 count in effect. 3 knockdown rule is in effect. You can be saved by the bell only in the final round. This is scheduled 10-rounder, and it's a 10-point must-scoring system. Now, sizing up these two fighters, the strengths and the weaknesses, here is the champ on the blackboard.
Brought to you by Old Spice, the boxing blackboard. Former heavyweight champion Larry Holmes. His strengths, one of the best ever, a great left jab, and he sets a good pace. He really works hard. His weaknesses, like all aging fighters, is his speed. He's not as sharp today, and in fighting those he should beat, it's hard for him to be motivated. He better be up tonight. For Eddie Donaldson, his strengths, big and strong, is his size, and with all that is his power. He's a good right cross. His weaknesses, only 15 fights, his experience. Does he know how to win a draining fight? And Eddie lacks mobility. He may need it tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Magic Dome at Casino Magic in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, Arthur Palulo's Banner Promotions, in association with matchmaker J. Russell Peltz, boxing coordinator extraordinaire Les Bonanno, and Budweiser, the undisputed king of beers, presents main event, 10 rounds, heavyweights. Your referee for this event from Metairie, Louisiana, Mighty Martin Casino. Introducing now the principals first in the red corner to my right, wearing the blue trunks with white trim. He weighs 233.5 pounds. Professional record, 11 wins, 4 defeats. He has 9 knockouts. He hails from Mobile, Alabama, Officer Eddie Donaldson. His opponent in the blue corner, wearing the white trunks with red trim, he weighs 246 pounds. His professional record, 61 victories, 5 defeats. He has 40 knockouts. He hails from Easton, Pennsylvania, former heavyweight champion of the world, the Easton Assassin, Larry Holmes. 10 rounds, heavyweight.
All right, gentlemen, you received your instructions this afternoon. I want you to protect yourself at all times. Let's have a good, clean fight. Touch him up.
It is nearly 10 years to the day that Larry Holmes lost his heavyweight championship to Michael Spinks, the first loss of his career after 48 wins, September 21st, 1985, when Larry then was an aging fighter at 35. And here is Larry Holmes on his toes, and a very tight, as expected, Ed Donaldson. Holmes with the jab, looking to follow it with the right hand, the weapon that keeps him in the ring competitively at the age of 45. Donaldson says that he wants to throw a lot of punches. He hasn't started yet. He wants to go in at Holmes. Good luck at getting in on that jab, but not to step back, which he has done here. He's right in the range of Holmes.
He says he wants to. He wants to win this fight also. But to do that, you have to win rounds. And to do that, you got to throw punches. Look at that jab from Larry Holmes. That was his best weapon as a champion. He had the jab like he learned from Muhammad Ali. Terrific weapon, both offense and defense, that left jab.
Eddie Donaldson has had 15 professional fights, been past the 5th round twice. He has fought a total of 48 rounds to Larry Holmes' 503, and there is the first surge by Eddie Donaldson, who's certainly seen enough of Holmes in the comeback. He saw what Jesse Ferguson was able to do against Larry Holmes, getting him in trouble. But Holmes very confident in this one. In the early goings.
Well, Holmes says at this age, I'm wiser in the ring. I stand flat-footed more. I don't waste any punches. I hit 3 or 4 direct punches instead of 6 or 7 misses. Ed Donaldson says his style is a boxer-puncher. He has a pretty good right hand if he'll throw it. But that jab is going to keep him off balance and keep him blinded from throwing that overhand right. Now into his shell, Ed Donaldson. Donaldson said, I have a good jab, and I'm going to jab with Larry Holmes tonight, but we haven't seen many jabs.
Oh, and here's Holmes holding on.
Yeah, that stung.
So Eddie Donaldson sends a message who has some...
There's a message. Larry Holmes.
Larry's whispering some sweet nothings in the ear of Donaldson, but Eddie Donaldson has gotten Holmes' attention. Larry Holmes said these kids come in. It's not only obviously the biggest fight in his career, the biggest moment in the life of Eddie Donaldson.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about. When you're fighting a fighter on his way up, or a fighter that doesn't have the experience that you do, like an Eddie Donaldson, he's going to fight above his level. Sometimes the really good fighters fight below their level, and that's dangerous if you're a fighter like Larry Holmes.
Well, Eddie Donaldson is certainly gaining in confidence here in the late stages of round 1. Happy this is over. Celebrity spectator ringside at Casino Magic. Mike Ditka watching on.
Oh, isn't that great? Look at him. He is getting his money's worth out of that gum. Mike Ditka is. He's going to be a piece of gum around here, man.
Probably thinking whether he could have used Larry Holmes as a tight end at one time in his coaching career.
Always thinking. Mike Ditka. We've seen him here a few times. Every time we seem to come in this area, he comes over to the fight. Good fight fans.
Larry Holmes says fighting is a way of life for me. I fight because I like, basically because I like to. But he's not a shot fighter.
Well, There is some of the speed of hand and foot from Larry Holmes. Still has good reaction.
Yep.
You know, for a 45-year-old man to get out of the way of an advancing 36-year-old man, that's what he says about his career. He says, that's why I'm fighting again.
Well, he admits his skills are diminished, but he still has the skills. Doesn't feel anybody could outbox him in the ring.
And the reason why is because of what you see with that left hand, that jab. See him steer that jab. Look at that. Steer with it a little bit, and then he'll steer Donaldson around to where he wants Donaldson to go. You steer your opponent with your left jab. You set him up for something else, and then you crack with the right hand. And Larry Holmes was fantastic at that, and still is.
His comeback started in April of '91 at the age of 41. Is now going over 4 years. Won 13. He's lost 2. The losses championship fights to Holyfield and McCall. He's been fighting basically in the high 230s or low 240s in weight. Got serious against McCall. Got down to 236, 233 against Holyfield. So you could basically tell the seriousness of this fight up to 246. Coming off the McCall fight, so just put a few extra pounds on. But if he ever got a call for championship fight, I know he's going to get to the mid-230s.
But you know what? He goes into a fight and he gives the action. I mean, he is the one setting the pace in this fight. It's still early, but even in the fights that we've seen him in, even late in the fight, he's still in there throwing punches. He's the one setting the pace, setting the tempo.
Inside 30 seconds to go in the second round.
Oh, nice snapping jab. Oh, how Eddie Donaldson would be served with a jab. If he would get that left hand going. To control a jab, sometimes you have to jab with your opponent to take it away from him. There's some good left from Donaldson. Catching Larry Holmes up against the rope. Not a good place for him to be.
Round number 3, it is scheduled for 10. Larry Holmes up on his toes so far throughout. And that jab, which is also pretty good power punch for Larry Holmes, connecting with Eddie Donaldson. Eddie Donaldson, a gentleman, a former Marine, now a police officer in Mobile, Alabama, his hometown. Says he knows he never will be a world champion, but now he can say he was in the ring with one of the great world champions.
Yeah, he really feels like the force is with him back home. He says all the people on the police force with him say, take the old man out, they tell Larry Donaldson. I mean, Ed Donaldson.
Good advice.
Yeah, that's right. Hey. And he's trying with that swing.
Yeah, you know, his biggest problem, he comes in with a record of 11-4 with 9 knockouts, is that he really can't get in ample training. I mean, he works an 8-hour shift on the force, so he's not really a full-time boxer, doesn't get enough sparring. Sometimes the job calls for that 16-hour shift. And he does it basically for the fun. He enjoys boxing, stays in shape. There's an opportunity like this one here tonight, but I mean, he knows the reality of it.
Yeah, doesn't want to be a world champion. He says, I just want to do the best that I can and see how far I can go. His best attributes, he says, a great heart. The military taught him anything I want, I can have if I work hard. Roosevelt Sanders, our friend, taught him motivation, dedication, and instilled in him to be prepared for every fight.
Now, 12 years ago, while he was stationed with the Marines in Europe, said he had a lot of liberty time. It's not into running around, going to clubs, so that's when he took up boxing as a hobby. Did not turn pro until the age of 33, 3 years ago. Has put together a nice little record of 11-4. We saw him against James Thunder when he was taken out in the second round in a fight in which he felt he just put his defenses down too early. Something he has learned, and he said against Holmes, he wants to make sure he keeps his hands up.
Well, he kept that left hook on the face of Larry Holmes. Good left hook from him. He is scoring with that left hook. Eddie Donaldson is notorious for his right hand. Most of his power is there, but he's landed several good left hooks. Larry may be looking for that right hand. And the way that Larry stands, if you can hit him, if you can reach him with that left hook, he's more susceptible to that punch. The left hand low, even lower than the right hand. He got tagged.
You're not going to out-jab Larry Holmes. Both try to get it out. Holmes has the reach, knows how to get it there, and you can see the force of the jab used as a punch for Holmes and really keeping Eddie Donaldson at bay. Sumo action in the middle of the ring. Larry Holmes at 246. Donaldson 233.5. When Holmes turned pro in 1973, tipped the scale at 202 pounds. He beat Kenny Norton for the world title in 78 at 209 pounds. Fourth round action. Eddie Donaldson clearing himself of the cobwebs and the nervousness of facing one of his boxing heroes. And right now, our champ is in the Eddie Donaldson corner. Sean?
Eddie, more pressure from Eddie this round. Eddie Surratt working the corner. What's going on?
Well, Eddie's starting to loosen up some, and when he gets loose, I think he's going to land some good punches here.
Well, he got Larry's attention the last round with the left hook. What do you think changes Larry now?
Well, Larry's got to come out and just box. He got a lot of experience, you know. He catches Eddie making mistakes and lands some good shots.
Eddie's having a lot of trouble with that jab.
Yeah.
How do you combat that?
Well, I want him to jab with him and maybe give me some left hooks to the body.
How about the next few rounds? Are you going to try to fire him up toward the end of this fight?
Yeah, he's going to get looser and more relaxed, and I think we're in for a fight.
You got a good left hook going. Are you going to continue using that? And if so, you look for a knockout?
Huh? Well, yeah, I'd like to, but I'd also like to see the right hand land a little more.
Yeah, you got to use the jab too, Eddie. I know you're going to keep on him. Good luck over here, Al. They know they want the jab from the outside, and they like the left hook.
Well, it certainly sounds as if that is the corner of the decided underdog, although the chant now getting behind Eddie Donaldson with the crowd chanting, Eddie, Eddie. There he's switching the jab. Holmes studying his opponent. The left is low, but ready to coil.
Yeah, this is a man in Larry Holmes that understands the tempo of a fight, and he knows in these fights early, all these fighters that face him are going to try to come out and prove something to him. So Larry wants to get this fight past the first 5 rounds. He wants to take Donaldson down to the deep blue sleeve. Good right hand and left hook from Donaldson. Well, at the end of that 4th round, both of them advancing. Watch the headbutt right there, the bang, right on the eye. Eddie Donaldson was hurt from that, just over the left or the right eye. Actually, the left eye. I have to look at my shoes for that.
Well, the crowd getting behind the underdog and encouraging Eddie Donaldson, picking up the pace. Wash your head, says Larry Holmes after he followed him at the end of the last round.
Well, it's a dangerous man to face if you're Larry Holmes. When Donaldson rushes in like that, he might catch the top of his head. He might catch you with a punch. But if you're Larry Holmes, and I know he's thinking this, I'm going to make him run into something. When you make your opponent run into a punch, it's like 2 trains running together. You have more force behind your punch, as opposed to him pulling away from it.
Talked about the adulation from the crowd here for Larry Holmes when he entered the ring, but once he gets into the ring, it seems to shift where he is now perceived as the former heavyweight champ, the heavy favorite, and the fans now shift to the underdog, Eddie Donaldson.
With so many good right hand again from Donaldson. So many people feel that whenever you fight a legend like Larry Holmes, that you're not going to put up a good fight. You're going to come in the ring in awe of him. And a lot of the fans get behind Eddie Donaldson, give him encouragement, make him brave. And Donaldson's going in there to fight. He's not in here to lay down or to dog it. He is rising to another level for Donaldson.
Getting through those early rounds. Stiff early rounds. And you see underneath the left eye of Donaldson, that jab making contact there. Swelling it up. There goes Larry Holmes again, right to that target area.
Yeah, remember the headbutt at the end of that 4th round?
Left hook by Holmes.
Yeah, Holmes said, I got a pretty good 1-2, but I don't have a good left hook. And that was him throwing the left hook.
Holmes has always felt that you fight with 2 or 3 punches, 4 or 5 wasted energy. And you see him living up to that notion.
Oh, yeah, experience. This is a man at Holmes that started fighting at the age of 18, turned pro in 1972 at the weight of 202 pounds. 24-year-old.
Inside 10 seconds in the 5th. And we will pause for word from your local cable systems as Donaldson comes in. It's a slip, no knockdown.
Just at the end of that 5th round, look at the back foot of Larry Holmes. His right foot, when he goes back, he slides off the edge, the ring apron, the edge of the ring, and that was no knockdown, although it gave Donaldson a happy feeling for a moment. There's a look at the ring apron. You can see it right down there at the bottom. There's only maybe a foot of apron on this ring, and Larry just simply backed up too far and flipped off the edge of it.
Larry Holmes knows he's in a fight here tonight, and you take a look at the around the left eye of Holmes, who wheels Donaldson right into the camera, and the crowd now turning on the former champ. But there you see around the eye of Holmes the contact that is being made by Donaldson with that right hand, and Holmes actually picking up the pace here in the 6th. In November, he will turn 46. And he is the man keeping the pace in this fight.
Yeah, really putting up a good pace. It's him keeping the pressure on. And, you know, for a 36-year-old man to get in there and fight like this is tough. But here's a man that's almost 46 that's doing it, and Holmes.
Donaldson, by the way, is 36.
I was talking about you. Oh, you're not 36
well, I'll
yet.
wait after the 10th round.
Oh, you'll be 36 after the 10th round?
No, you'd actually be more ready to fight somebody after they've gone 10 rounds.
There's Donaldson putting the pressure on, but getting kind of sloppy with these punches. Sharp, crisp. That jab is so controlling from the outside. You can control from the inside. A jab is both offense and defense.
And you know what? Even when you're hurt and stunned, boy, that jab comes in handy.
Oh, yes. That jab is such a great, effective weapon.
What determines whether Larry Holmes continues on? He said earlier tonight, well, listen, if I don't win this fight, it's time to hang it up. But if I do, I'll come back in October. But he is taking a little more punishment than I think he felt he would in this fight, and that may become a determining factor.
Oh, absolutely. He said, today I stand flat-footed and I never get hit. I have better punching power, and I make my punches count, but I don't take my adversary's punches.
That has not been the case.
I've seen him take a few of Eddie Donaldson's shots.
Although he has been more aggressively offensively than we have really seen him, but he's also taking more shots, as you can see.
When you're aggressive, you're also more vulnerable to your opponent's attack. You sometimes run into their shots. The best thing about this left jab from Larry Holmes is he uses it. Look at that, right on the nose, on the mouth. Oh, that hurts. That not only hurts, it confuses you, it blinds you sometimes where you can't see, it steers you sometimes where you don't want to go. Oh, that jab is so protected.
And it is the main reason you are seeing him here at 45 still fighting. As we said earlier, that's the punch that the young fighters just don't have. And is enabling him to stay in with fighters 10, 15 years younger.
So true. A heavyweight with a jab can be so effective.
And that was the perfect setup for the right behind the jab.
Right, and you see what Larry did with that jab? He stuck it out there. He blinded his opponent. He held him out there at the end of the punch. 90% of the punch is the power of the punch is right on the end. That snap. Larry knows that. And look at the eye of Larry. The left eye swelled up.
On that jab, it looked like he had Velcro at the end of his glove. And it was also Velcro on the face of Donaldson.
That's why Larry Holmes was so good, too. As a youngster, he had that jab. And then the relaxing power, not a lot of knockouts in the first 3 rounds, but the relaxing power was that he would wait until the 7th, 8th, 9th, sometimes the 15th round to knock out his opponent.
Knockouts in his 20 defenses, but those were generally the accumulation of punches over the round. Says right now he relies more on the one punch, and that's that right coming off the jab. He's got that right hand cocked.
Yeah, that was again the hook. A little slip.
1 minute to go in the 7th. Larry Holmes came out on his toes first couple of rounds. Took a few rounds for Eddie Donaldson to finally shake off the nervousness. He did connect in the 3rd with that right hand, got Larry Holmes' attention, had Holmes holding on at the end of that round.
And he had a pretty good 4th round, Donaldson did.
Donaldson has actually brought more out of Larry Holmes tonight than we have seen when he has stepped in against the relative unknowns.
Yeah, well, there's why the size. Look at him, 6'3", 233.5 pounds for Eddie Donaldson. If you're Larry Holmes, you're in there moving your own weight. You're also having to move the weight of your opponent. Eddie Donaldson is wrestling, pushing around, punching. Yeah, the jab that Larry Holmes has sets this punch up. Watch. Boom. See him turn the head, too? That is professional experience. You turn your head and make him, turn your opponent's head, make him accept that punch. You hit him right on the side of the jaw. So many fighters knocked out with that punch.
Like a free shot.
Oh, yeah. You take them, you turn the angle, you move them away from you, and then you steer your right hand just to their chin. Yeah, a little swelling around the face. Look at both eyes swelled up a bit, mostly on that left eye. He's eating some right hands.
But a welcome respite there for Larry Holmes. Donaldson, the repair on the glove. Only thing you have to watch out for there is just you just don't tape him up to the ropes.
Right. Or that horseshoe that they put in there. Gotta watch out for that. No horseshoe.
Larry Holmes, his 67th professional fight. 61 wins, 5 defeats, 40 knockouts, all 5 losses. World title fights, 2 times to Michael Spinks, 1 to Tyson, 1 to Holyfield, 1 to McCall. And on the card in April to Oliver McCall, one judge had it 114, 113. Another judge had it 115, 114. That's how close Larry Holmes came. The age of 45, to once again being the heavyweight champion of the world. In which case, we will not be seeing him tonight, that's for sure.
Oh, come on. He didn't come back on USA and fought with us. He said he didn't expect to win that fight with McCall.
He may have fought Eddie Donaldson to defend, but it wouldn't have been here.
He said that McCall fought and caught him in the 9th round, but he said he thought he won all the early rounds of that fight. Very tough.
Father of 5, grandfather of 2, Larry again on that short apron, and he is very upset.
You know what? That is a dangerous thing to do for a ring to have a small apron like that, because you hurt your knee. When you slide down there, you scrape the front of your shin bone on the side, the edge of the ring, and you could seriously damage your knee.
Although Larry may sacrifice that small apron for a more sizable ring, which he has here. He doesn't want a smaller ring against a clubbing Eddie Donaldson.
Yeah, however, he's been the one that has stayed on the inside. He hasn't needed a large ring. Larry Holmes has been the one that has forced the action tonight. So for that reason, this fight could have taken place in a smaller ring. This is an 18-foot, 4-inch ring, and it is a fast ring.
30 seconds to go in the 8th. This is scheduled for 10 rounds.
Yeah, and this is also ring generalship. Look how Larry Holmes scores now. He's breathing in there. He's taking his time. He got around behind Donaldson so that Eddie couldn't hit him. He breathes from the outside. He breathes when he throws that jab. So many fighters.
Donaldson collapsed here in the 8th.
Beautiful.
Count is 7. He will not make it. Oh, he does. Marchesino with a very liberal count at the bell. Ed Donaldson does make it to get to the next round. But Larry Holmes, a rifle shot, been trying to wake Eddie Donaldson up in the corner.
I wasn't looking. When did you call it? Right hand.
You cannot be saved by the bell unless it is the final round. And Eddie Donaldson just makes the count.
Here it is. Look at this beautiful short right hand set up by the left hook, the left jab. Crack just on the side of the jaw. Remember earlier he was turning his head to try to find the sweet spot? He's turning the head of Donaldson and then smack right on the vulnerable area, left side of the jaw.
And how vulnerable will Donaldson be here in the 9th? You know Larry Holmes will up the tempo in the early going, go right at him.
Yeah, he knows it too.
He doesn't want to take any more rights to his eye. And Donaldson standing back. Looks like he might be ready right here. He says he wants to get in on Holmes, doesn't want to stay back and get caught, and that's exactly where he is right now.
Yeah, look how high his hands are now, but he is taking the feints from Holmes. See if Holmes is feinting with that left jab. He's feinting it. Eddie Donaldson's going for the feint.
He's got the crowd once again chanting his name.
Yeah, the crowd's behind him. He's probably wishing his crowd was in front of him.
Well, he's behind him right in the ring and holding him up.
Another right hand.
Very shaky legs of Eddie Donaldson.
Stepping in post holds.
And right here in the 9th, he should be getting in close on Holmes, trying to hold him up, get into that 10th round, try to get the breather, try to collect himself, and then go for it in the 10th. Holmes with that left, trying to rough him up.
This is a very dangerous thing for Donaldson giving too much respect late in the fight against Larry Holmes. Against a fighter like Holmes, you press him early, he's not going to do much. He's going to let you come at him. He's going to take you to those later rounds. He's going to lull you to sleep, and then he's going to put you to sleep. What Donaldson is doing is he's trying to give room to Larry Holmes. When he does, he gets out of that danger zone, that 90% zone. And Larry Holmes is so effective late in any fight. Experience.
And part of the excitement for Holmes is now at this age,
another one
against the younger fighters, even with the diminished skills, trying to find different ways and able to win.
Yeah, you know, and that's when boxing is really fun.
Oh, Donaldson comes back with a right.
But Donaldson's still out on his feet. Look at him, still wobbly. That's when the sport of boxing is fun, and that's when Larry Holmes is having fun. He's imposing his will on his opponent, making Donaldson do what he wants him to do.
But unfortunately for Larry, not imposing that right hand on his opponent here in the 9th to follow up that late knockdown in the 8th. And that was a 2-bouncer by Eddie Donaldson, but he really got up in a hurry in the late stages of the count.
Well, I think he fell first, and then his jaw fell about a minute and a half later.
Inside 20 seconds, it appears as if Donaldson will get to the 10th. Unless Holmes cracks again with a late big shot. Donaldson survives the ninth.
Come back. Once again, setting up that right hand with this, the jab. Mack walking right into it. Larry not only lands that left jab, also turning that head. Takes Donaldson's eyes off of it. There it is again, the jab turning the head. Now the crowd chanting for, I think, Larry. Or is that an Eddie? Larry and Eddie sound so much alike.
Well, it depends who connects last.
I think Larry thinks that they're saying Larry, but Eddie probably thinks they're saying Eddie. I thought they were saying Sean.
Well, interesting. It did sound like Shawnee. In the corner of Larry Holmes, a little concerned with his right hand.
Yeah, don't land the right hand if you don't have to, said Sao Mambi. Former junior welterweight champion of the world.
And here's Donaldson in the face of Larry Holmes. They know he has this fight in his back pocket on the cards. So perhaps that cracking right hand of Holmes cracked him.
Oh, very painful to have a hurt hand. Take your weapons away. Even when you land with the other hand, if you have a hand that's hurt and you land with your other hand, you score with the left hand, your right hand hurts every time you hit with the left hand. Plus, sometimes if you block with your hands, your opponent hits that hurt hand, and that even hurts more. Sometimes it hurts you more to land your punches than it hurts your opponent.
Larry Holmes continues to go on. 2 months away from his 46th birthday, adding even more to the purse. It is figured that he has earned around $90 million in purses. His first fight back in 1973 was paid $63. Biggest payday, $10 million against Jerry Cooney, and Larry, remember at that time, upset that he had to split the purse with Cooney, and then $7 million a few years ago in the comeback against Evander Holyfield. Larry hitting pay dirt. He's actually coming. He fought that fight coming off surgery for detached retina. Did not really train properly, so he says, but the detached retina would not get in the way. He would not pass up a payday of that nature.
Yeah, $60 for his first fight. And he made $150,000 for his first title fight. And he's had 56 purses. So not only has he had a lot of fights, he's got a lot of purses
in his closet. It's amazing. If this would be his last fight, isn't it ironic that he wrapped it up with another $63 fight?
Larry Holmes, that's wonderful. 45 years old. Ed Donaldson has to be happy with himself. I mean, he went the distance with the former champ. He put pressure on him. He had him wobbled a few times. He did get knocked down, but he hung in there tough with Larry Holmes.
Comes off the canvas to finish the fight and go the distance with a former heavyweight champion, a legend. Eddie Donaldson said, "I'll never be a world champion," but now he's got this tape that he can have on his shelf for the rest of his life. And now it is time for the Power Punch, brought to you by Budweiser. Fresh, pure, natural, proud to be your Bud. And Eddie Donaldson not proud of this one. It happened in the 8th round. It looked like this fight was over then when Larry Holmes sizing it up. It is the combined jab and the right. Larry Holmes, bread and butter, and boom, down goes Donaldson. It was at the end of the 8th. He was able to miraculously beat the clock, and that is our Budweiser Power Punch.
Tonight's boxing has been brought to you by Beechwood Aged Budweiser, the king of beers. This Bud's for you. By Coast Deodorant Soap. That bold scent and big leather make Coast the eye-opener. And by Speed Stick. Like you, it never quits. By Menon.
Casino Magic, 10 rounds done. Larry Holmes and Eddie Donaldson And we have the decision, so we'll go into the ring with Mark Beater.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a unanimous decision. Judge C.D. Jenkins scores the bout 191. Judge Fred Steinwinder III scores it 190. Judge Paul Sita scores it 189. All to the winner, Larry Holmes.
Larry Holmes pitches one here at 45, and Eddie Donaldson, despite the fact that he was down on his back and out-jabbed the whole fight, won some fans who are actually booing the decision. Larry Holmes goes to 62-5, and now the question of whether the career will continue. Did take some punishment from a relative unknown in Eddie Donaldson tonight.
Yeah, he took more punishment than he expected, but I think he realizes that everyone he faces, they're going to fight above their level. They're going to come in to try to show him something.
So that wraps it up tonight. Larry Holmes walks out of the ring with one more win on